Greetings all and welcome to yet another episode of What the Fuck Is A reborG podcast. I am the one they call reborG, aka a whole lot of other shit. And thank you for tuning in again. Un momento while I take care of something right quick. See, you ain't even have to fucking wait that long. Boy is in the back cause boy been fucking up this weekend. Just outright ridiculous with the shit he been doing. Like, I know from time to time he may have a pee accident in the back because, you know, I work from 6 in the morning to 3 p.m. So pretty much from about 5:30 to 3:30 is when I'm gone. Now, I do take him out like at 4:45 in the morning to go pee, but that's a long time. And I work far enough away where I can't come home during my break. You know, I'm not going to waste that hour coming home to do some shit when I can just chill at the site and, you know, kick it there. So I can excuse some of that. But last night I just happened to wake up with this motherfucker just peeing on the shirt on the side. Like, I usually try to keep shit off the floor for the most part. Like, if it's dirty clothes, I don't mind if you pee on them. You know why? I'm getting ready to wash them shits anyway, so that ain't no big deal. And you know, I got the proper detergent and all that shit, so I can get that right out. But he was peeing on a clean shirt, just on some random. And I caught his ass in the middle of the night, chastised him. He ran under the bed. I wasn't going to get up and do that shit because it was like 3 in the morning. And, you know, I'm off work, so I'm not going to fuck that sleep up. The weekends and days off is the best sleep ever. I don't give a fuck because you ain't got nothing to wake up to. Now, fortunately, I don't have anything right now, but soon a lot of my homies got kids playing football, so I'll be waking up for a reason on the weekend. But other than that, and I caught this asshole in the trash can the other day. Okay, I know boy likes chicken. He likes going in the trash can to try to get chicken bones and things of that nature. But because of that, that's not going to stop me from eating fucking chicken. That's not going to happen at all. Not only because I'm black, but because chicken is fucking delicious. I don't give a fuck who you are. White, black, Latino, Asian, Aborigines, any of that shit. Everybody likes chicken. That's why the most popular dish you hear from other countries and other cultures got to deal with some chicken. But outside of that, I just went to the store to pick up some cigarettes. Yeah, I smoke. Yeah, I'm gonna die. You can tell me whatever you want. I'm not gonna quit. So as we move on from there, after I get back from the cigarettes, I hear him running as I'm opening the door, and I see the trash on the ground. See, but the thing is, I knew he couldn't get to it because I put it in a bag and I put it underneath trash because I knew he wasn't going to be able to reach it. Because he tries to keep from knocking the can over. Because while he was staying with my sister has a smaller trash can, so he would just knock that over and try to go to town with it. It's hard for him to knock this trash can over because it's a little taller. So he got in there and he went under the bed. I haven't beat his ass or nothing like that. He's definitely been chastised, but we going to get better with the stuff. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I call bullshit because he gonna learn, okay? Plain and simple. We already go outside enough, especially on the weekend. That's what I was pissed about. You pissing on the weekend. Well, we go outside 3 times a day. Soon as I wake up, middle of the day, and when I gotta go outside. I mean, right before I go to bed. So he doesn't really have an excuse on the weekend. So y'all send good tidings to this asshole. This still the homie. I still got mad love for him. And we just gonna keep pushing. Things will get better. Trust me. I have too much love for him to give him away. Boy is fucking family. So, on to the topics. We got a little sports jump we gonna get into. Tigers leading in the Open right now. Shout out to Tiger. I know a lot of you may say you only cheering for him because he black. And my rebuttal to that is, why the fuck not, and who gives a fuck? I'm going to cheer for him because he's black and he's good. So, fuck you. Go Tiger. I hope you can do this because society tore him down for liking side pussy, which is really something that shouldn't have been a big deal. Tiger got a hell of a lot of coverage just because he cheated on his wife. Not a big deal, okay? If you think, an athlete worth $1 billion ain't gonna fuck around, you fucking stupid, alright? I'm sorry, okay? Show me motherfuckers who don't cheat for that. And if you do, kudos to them. But my judgment is not on whether you get side pussy or not. It's on the golf course. And on the golf course, he did his fucking thing. One of the greatest golfers of all time. You may say Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus, and I don't mind that because they did do some shit. But you can't discuss them without discussing Tiger too. So, shout out to Tiger. Keep doing your thing. I hope you get this dub. In NBA news, Kawhi got traded for DeRozan. That's pretty much how I saw the Spurs playing it. Because if you remember, I said it's not going to be about what Kawhi wants. This is the Spurs. Not just Pop, but the front office also has their own agenda. I knew he was going to end up in the Eastern Conference because they're going to go at least 1 year without them having to play him in the playoffs. Because I can tell you this right now. If he would have went to like the Lakers or the Clippers and would have been at the crib, he would have been playing. Shit, he'd be at the practice facility right now loading up goddamn Instagram video clips of him doing work. But the Spurs got exactly what they wanted. Another scorer to help replace his scoring, a big to protect the rim, because Jakob Poeltl, he can, he's not the greatest center, but I think with some of Pop's development, he'll turn himself into a good center. I tell you this, he's a defensive upgrade over Gasol, because Gasol is old. For those who don't remember, Gasol got drafted in 2003. So, that's quite a long time. What's that, fucking 15 years? Yeah, exactly. So, he's been around a while. So, they got the scoring, they got the big, and they got a protected draft pick, which is what they're really trying to do. What people don't realize is that the Spurs always have a plan. Even, with them getting rid of Tony Parker, they don't see that much of a big deal because Derek White has been playing so good in the summer league, and they're getting ready to roll the ball out to DeJounte Murray. So, and on the Raptors side, I can understand them bringing him in. They're trying to get another star. It's hard for Toronto to keep a star because they usually leave. If you know the history of the Raptors, they can't keep a star. So their plan is to try to, butter up Kawhi enough where he doesn't want to go home. I don't see it working, but we shall see. As always, it'll be an interesting year to watch. In other sports news, China, the Chinese Basketball Association said they got a huge deal prepared for D-Wade. I don't know if he wants to be away from his kids at this time or his wife and his family and things of that nature, but when they say a huge deal, when it's dealing with the CBA, Chinese Basketball Association, I'm gonna use CBA so I don't have to say the whole damn thing anymore. They're gonna throw out the bag. All right, he gonna get the bag. Now it's up to him whether he wants it or not. But shout out to D Wade, great player, much respect, first ballot Hall of Famer. Did your fucking thing. Go get that money if you want to. And speaking of the CBA, they just team offered the deal to Jahlil Okafor. Now, you can call him a bust because things didn't work in that nature, but I don't put the whole entire blame on Okafor. It's hard for us to know if you truly suck if you don't play. So I'm going to just move on from there. NBA news, shout out to the Trailblazers for winning the Summer League. They had a pretty good team. I saw things going this way. I think the Lakers ran out of gas after that epic game they had against Cleveland. And Colin Sexton is they don't call him the young bull for nothing, man. That dude goes all out, man. And I think that's what Cleveland needs right now. But shout out to Portland for winning the Summer League. I hope that can translate to them actually doing something later on, because the way they got their ass whooped by the Pelicans in the first round, there is room for improvement. And the Melo thing, all I say is Melo. Get in the bag, do your thing, man. I ain't got no hate. I wish the best for you. Hope you can pull a championship somewhere, in the time being. Be good to see you win the chip. In NFL news, the Raiders are not close to a deal with Khalil Mack, which is hard to understand. I already expressed how Derek Carr is the only one really having a big contract. Just go ahead, sign the dude, give him what he wants, because we can't get rid of him. The Raiders have just built themselves back to be a respectable team after years of buns. So the last thing you want to do is get rid of a top 5 defender. And I thought this was pretty funny. Andrew Luck will be throwing coming this camp, this training camp. Like I said all last year, due to the shitty line that the Colts had and the, lack of talent on offense outside of T.Y. Hilton and maybe Frank Gore, I don't think Andrew Luck wanted to play. I think he's a good quarterback, has a chance to be great. But, if he feels that he's not going to be upright for most of the game, he ain't playing. Fuck that, plain and simple. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Lord Jesus, somebody fucking around out here. This is a ghetto-ass podcast if I ever heard one. But it's mine, so fuck it. In last NFL news, Jimmy Garoppolo went out with a porn star. I hope you got exactly what you wanted out of that. Everybody's making a big deal. He shouldn't be doing that. It's not a good look for him and all that. Man, do what the fuck you want to do, man. As long as you perform on the field, people shouldn't really be saying shit. As long as you ain't killing nobody or doing no silly shit. And even if you kill somebody, if it's in self-defense, I can't knock you for that, because first rule of life is self-preservation. So I can't, man. Hey, he went out with a porn star. Big deal. I hope you got a happy ending, Jimmy. And we go from the NFL. Last podcast I was talking about Rivals was putting out their best players at each position, and I gave you some of my personal favorites from the offensive side. This week we're going to do defense, and next week I'll give you players that I thought that completely and utterly underperformed or were bust, in other words, from the offensive side of the game next podcast. But this podcast I'm going to give you some of my favorite defensive ones. And that defensive end, I'm going to struggle with this name. I can't say the first one, but it's Adigi Wazua, the defensive end that played for UCLA. During high school, he was a beast, and I thought that, sky's the limit for this kid because he could do it all. Like, not only did he have speed, he had power, and he could beat his opponent on the offensive line with ease. Because at this time, I can't remember what year, I want to say it was 2010, Chantrell Henderson was mainly the number one prospect overall. 6'8", 300 plus pounds, could move his feet, was very athletic. And when they went to the Army All-American Bowl and some of the practices, he was knocking Chantrell Henderson on his ass. And that was impressive beyond the fact that he was already a good player. So I thought big things from him. Didn't get it, but props to the guy. At defensive end, Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy is one of those players that was good at every stop. He was good in high school. He was highly ranked, top 10. Can't remember the exact spot, but he was highly ranked in high school. At Oklahoma, he put in work and did exactly what he was supposed to do. He got drafted high, and he's been playing good football. He's been playing good football since high school. Never underachieved, always gave you that 100% and always played good ball. So I always respected him. I already respected him from the high school ranks because he was already putting in work. And a shout out to the guy for being one of the few who was continuously good all the way through. That outside linebacker, we got a bust here. But he was still one of my favorite prospects at the time, Willie Williams. And not because he committed to Miami, but because he was just good. 6'3", 220, could move well. He could cover. He could cover wide receivers. He covered ground on outside runs. He could get from sideline to sideline with ease. He was a good player. Now, where he faltered at is what I'll discuss when we get to the bust portion in a later podcast. But I thought this kid was going to be pure sauce. Inside linebacker Ray Malaluga. He already had. I already figured, like, when you see a picture of a guy, or you hear his name, or you see what he looks like, you already knew where he was going. I already knew he was going to USC. Like, for my, my Polynesian, my Pacific Island brothers, my Hawaiian brothers, and all those guys, my island brown people, I thought he was going to be sauce just off the giddy up and just to watch him play, because they didn't have as many videos as they do now, but they did have some clips of him at school and during the all American practices and stuff like that, and even the game, guy could get sideline to sideline and he could hit. So I was always impressed. Cornerback Patrick Peterson, Back then in high school, he was Patrick Johnson. Changed his name. I can't remember the reason right now. Not really important. But this kid was good. Like, they showed videos of him, and I don't usually fall for highlight videos of players at camp or without equipment on. But when you're looking at cornerbacks and wide receivers, you can kind of get the gist of it. The guy was real physical, and he always knew where the ball was in air. His play on the ball in air was just incredible then, and it's always been that way. I watched him at the USC camp. He put in work. Then he went to the Friday Night Lights camp at Florida. He did the same. And though I was disappointed he didn't go to Miami, I couldn't knock the kid, man. You went to LSU, you made something out of yourself on the football field, and continue to be sauce. At safety, it was Shaq Thompson. Very rarely do you see, like, they usually describe some safeties as can move like a corner but hit like a linebacker. This guy in high school was the epitome of it. He can move all over the field, and he could hit like a motherfucker. And I always enjoyed watching him play up until now. Kind of figured he'd be an outside linebacker when he reached the NFL. I just enjoyed watching the kid play. And because they put this on the defensive side of the ball, I don't know why. Athlete, I got Taylor Mays, a player of this size, 6'4". What was he, like 220 at the time? He was an athlete because he played all over the damn field. He was everywhere for Odeya High School in Seattle, Washington. The kid was good. I thought he was gonna go to Miami. Then I thought he was gonna go to Washington, but wasn't surprised that he went to USC because Pete was the man. See, what people keep forgetting is that there's always somebody who does something beforehand. Just because the shit is happening now doesn't mean it happened before. And during this time and age where information is just so easy to get and receive, I don't know how you can't see. Like, Nick Saban is doing an incredible job recruiting. But shit, so did goddamn Pete Carroll at USC. Like, I can't knock the guy for it. They were doing damn near the same exact things recruiting wise. So, shout out to him. Taylor Mays was like Shaq Thompson, but he played more positions on offense. Always liked the guy. Shout out to him. In college football news, Brett Venables got the highest contract an assistant has ever gotten in college football. Don't knock him. Clemson's defense is amazing year in and year out, and it was smart for them to give him the bag so they can move forward with being a successful team. One of these days he will leave, but today just ain't that day. So shout out to him. Peach Jam, the big high school basketball tournament sponsored by Nike, was this past week, and Team Takeover from DC won. Shout out to the kids. Don't know a lot of the players that play for them, but I did see Victor Oladipo taking pictures and shouting them out because he did used to play for them. And, you know, shout out to him, man, because they play a lot of games. You playing at least damn near 100 games a year when you're in high school nowadays. And for them to actually pull it together to win a championship, shout out to him. And shout out to Cole Anthony. Very good point guard prospect. I'll really looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. He was called the MVP, or most outstanding player during Peach Jam and the EYBL period. Kid can ball, man. If you don't know, go look at the highlight tapes, and it's not just highlight tapes. It's not just highlights against him playing littler opponents and slower stuff, and he's done this against the elite too. So shout out to him. Make it happen. Manny Machado got traded. Hey, if the Dodgers don't win, it might be the waste of a bag, but we'll see what happens going forward. Because I just look at baseball news and stats, but playoff time I will check out baseball, because any playoff in any sport, as I stated before, is just fucking lit. So I will be doing that. As far as the sports news, that's pretty much what we got. And to continue with the theme of it's movie time in July, I was going to do Kung Fu Theater, but I saw a video on Instagram that somebody sent me in the group chat I'm with my homies. This old dude that was in the army fatigues with rain boots on. He dropped the nunchucks, ran down a hill, and proceeded to destroy martial arts and Kung Fu in general. and they were playing. Everybody was kung fu fighting in the background, and this was just, oh boy, he killed kung fu pretty much. And I haven't laughed that hard, this month like that. It was fucking crazy, man. But since we gonna cancel kung fu theater, I'm gonna go with documentaries because they count as movies too. And I'm gonna go over some. I don't have a list or anything like that for documentaries because there's so many of them, and I didn't want to dice them up and things like that. But here are some of my favorite documentaries, and then I have some in here that weren't as great overall, but entertaining at the most. And when you say entertaining, it's not like something that catches your eye or a story you want to know. It's one of those things where this is so goofy, I just want to see how the shit ends, and that's what a couple of them will go down at. First, we're going to start with When We Were Kings, the documentary about the Ali Foreman fight in Zaire, Africa. It was just great to see. That's a lot of footage they captured back then, so shout out to the director. Don't know his name right now, didn't look it up, didn't give a fuck to look, but it's all about the documentary as a whole. It was just a good documentary, even like showing like the performances with all the musical performances and artists that went down there, like James Brown and things of that nature. It was just good to see. The soundtrack was good for it. I don't even know too many documentaries that have soundtracks, but this is one of them. And this was always something I will enjoy and something that I've gone back to. Dogtown and Z-Boys. I've never skated like for real. Like I used to kick push when I was about 8 or 9 years old down the street, but I never did any tricks, so I continued on with it. But I'm a big fan of skateboarding. And to show the first real superstars of skateboarding was the shit. Some of the stories when they individualized some of them, like Stacey Adams and I'm sorry, I got the names mixed up. Stacey Peralta and Jay Adams, and I can't remember his name. Tony Alva. Those were good, and just showing how they came up, rose to fame, and how it all crumbled at the end as far as the owners was. It was just something good, and like this is the theme for these documentaries. It's always something that I'll go back to. Another one is Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams might be one of the best documentaries of all time. This guy, first of all, he showed heart because South side of Chicago was really rough. What was the west side or the south side? I can't remember, but Chicago was rough back then, and for him to just go out to the hood and film like this showed some nuts, and it was just a good thing to watch. Like throughout this whole thing, even when you rewatch it, you still are cheering for Arthur Agee and William Gates, man, to make it. And even though they didn't make it to the NBA, you still like for them not to be dead or in jail or strung out. It was just good to see, man. This is a great documentary, and it just shows you the ugly part of basketball too. It shows you the ugly side that comes from parents and sideline people and coaches and things of that nature. How sometimes they may use the kids up. But this is a great documentary, man. Paradise Lost, the murders of Robin Hood Hills. All 3 parts that came out on HBO are good. And it was crazy to see the third one, how the 3 guys that they charged for the crime of killing these 3 little boys, how the evidence is overwhelming of them not doing it, yet and still they're still in jail. It was just crazy at that time. First of all, it was crazy to see that 3 random kids got killed like that, because it's fucked up. They didn't do nothing to deserve that, and just the story behind this stuff it was just a good watch. Shout out to all the Metallica music that they put in there. That shit was sauce. Like, it was just a good mixture of everything, man. And I hope that they find the killers, because those kids deserve justice. OJ Made in America. I don't know what the country's obsession is with OJ, because I'm in the fold too, and I just talked to my dad about this the other day. This guy's been out since October, and we ain't heard nothing from OJ. He either is actually trying to hide out and keep quiet, or he just got some shit brewing. But it's just weird not to hear any OJ news after a while. But OJ Made in America was just showing, his rise from when he was a youth and how he came to be famous and popular, and I mean, there's some football stuff in there. I really wouldn't consider this a sports documentary. It's more of a crime documentary, kind of like a biography documentary, because it really goes into what happened during and after those murders and the trial and stuff like that. But it was just good. I will give it to him. Trial of the century is something that everybody was glued to and things of that nature. It was good, and just to see the transformation from OJ, from ghetto youth to acceptable black man in white America, it was just a good thing to watch. Team Foxcatcher, I can't remember any other guys' names, but this is the one, the heir to the DuPont fortune. He wasn't that good in athletics. He was okay, but he started a sports team to compete in the Olympics, and his main sport was wrestling, and how he got that to American wrestling to get the proper respect that it deserved, because at the time Russia and other countries had better facilities, better trainers and things of that nature. So he wanted America to have the same edge that these other countries did. So he forked in a lot of money and a lot of time to build up American wrestling, and his main coach he ended up killing. And it just shows how this dude just went off. I can't remember the name of the movie. I think the movie is called The Foxcatcher, with Steve Carell and Channing Tatum. It's a good movie, this documentary, even though some of the things, because they even had a 30 for 30 on it. And speaking of 30 for 30, I'm not going to have anything in this, because I'm going to have a section dedicated to 30 for 30s on another podcast, so I just left all those out. But Team Foxcatcher was crazy. Just how DuPont fell into psychosis and what he ended up doing afterwards by killing that guy. It was just madness. The Iceman Confesses. I can't remember what year this came out, but this is another HBO documentary with what's his name, Ted Kaczynski, the Iceman, Mafia hitman. This shit was scary as a child. Just to know that this dude was just that comfortable with killing. It was an urge to him. Like, it became a drug. Like, he was trying and going out and finding new ways to kill people. Like, just shooting them wasn't enough for him. He wanted to do more. So, it was just scary to see this as a kid. And it was just a fucking trip to see how he would go out, commit these murders, and then the next day when the morning came, he was a loving father and family man. Like, it was just crazy to see that shit. But it was a good documentary. He was cold about it. He did not give a fuck that he did commit these murders, and to watch that as a kid and even as an adult is amazing, man. It's a good documentary, man. Marley, the Bob Marley one, just so I can get further insight on who he was outside of the music and outside of the stuff that was portrayed to him, because he died. I think he died before I was born or while I was a baby, because I don't remember shit before 5 years old. So I had to go back and peep that and see what that was about. That was pretty damn good. And the one thing I like about it is that it showed the good and the bad. Like, people was, that were actually close to him, calling him out on some of the shit that he did. And, that ain't no big deal. When there's good, there's bad. If, I ever blow up and there's a documentary made about me, my bullshit's going to be put out there. Even though at some point during these podcasts, I will definitely be putting myself so out there. But shout out to that one, The Loving Story. This was an HBO documentary. I grew up big on HBO. Like, I used to watch all types of shit on HBO, and this one was good. It was showing the relationship between a white man and a black woman in like the 50s and the 60s. Now, I mean, it's commonplace now to see interracial relationships, but for them two to be together and to ride that storm all the way through showed the ultimate nuts. It shows supreme heart. Like, to be in an interracial relationship now is tough, but it ain't shit compared back then. It's just like I say about gay people. It may be rough to be gay now, but picture being gay in the 50s, where you could literally die when somebody found out that you were gay. And that went all the way up to when Boys Don't Cry, when that story actually happened. So So that shit is just crazy. Just for them to not only be in love and fight through all those tribulations and tumultuous shit, but to still be together and still love each other through all that shit was crazy. Richard Pryor omitted the logic. This was like the Marley one, but a little bit deeper. He didn't get to speak on it. He didn't need to, because Richard Pryor is one of those people who put his shit out there tenfold. Like, you weren't going to dig up too much shit on him. Like, for him, for when Quincy Jones came out a month or two ago and talked about how he had delved in some homosexual activity, Richard Pryor had said that shit on his Craps album, I want to say in 71. So it really wasn't like that. And then when he did the roast on the Richard Pryor show, when he said Paul Mooney was there when I fucked my first faggot and he's been holding it over my head ever since. I was one of the few guys in Craps when he said I was one of those guys who, I wasn't afraid to admit that I fucked this faggot. And the only bad part is when I go back at home, I always see the guy, and every time I say, "Hi, Rich," and like that was, the dirt that people had on him in this one was, really wasn't that dirt because he already put it out there. But just to get another perspective of the story that he went through, like I didn't know the shit that he did to Pam Grier, like that shit was crazy. Like I didn't know that one. He's already, he said he was fucked up to women, and he wasn't good in that department. But to get a deeper story of it is good, and he's one of the people I've actually looked up to. That's a celebrity due to his, like I've said before, due to his honesty and just who he is, and always utterly respected Rich. Another one is the King of Kong. This is about the guy who had the highest score in the Donkey Kong video game. Out of nowhere, his score gets beat, and it's a documentary on his quest to get his score back. Like, they even set this shit up like a match with a referee and everything, and it was just good, and it was funny to see these two super geeks battle for the supremacy of Donkey Kong. Like, this was one of those ones that was interesting and entertaining. Not just one of those I want to see what happens when, it gets to the end, but just listening to the guys and all that stuff. It was a good documentary. I'm a video game fan, and this one was, pretty fucking good. And then, What Happened to Miss Simone, the biographical documentary on Nina Simone. I already knew how deep somebody's pain is when you can hear them sing about some things, and just her voice and some of the lyrics that she had in some of her songs, you knew it was some deep shit. And this one, dives right into it. This is interesting ones because sometimes it's hard to understand people who have some mental illnesses and see why they do some of those things. You feel for them, especially me, because I deal with some of this shit. But just to watch this was very eye-opening, and I've always had respect for her. But to watch it in the video, watch it in the movie form, and just just how deep they got with it, and how deep some of her pain and agony was just eye-opening. It was a very good documentary to watch, and I said, all these are suggestions. Watch these shits. And I know if you got any more, you can put them in the comment section. Just don't put no fucking 30 for 30 ones up there, because I already discussed that shit. And when there's good, there's goofy. And these are a couple of goofy ones that I saw them, but I just didn't like. It was just weird. This is the section I'm talking about where you just want to see what happens at the end. One, I have Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. This is one about a mother and her daughter who they were out there, and the little girl supposedly had cancer, was getting sick, and this, that, and the third, and come to find out, the girl ended up killing her mama, and she wasn't as sick as before. I'm not going to spoil it for you. If I had to watch this shit, you will watch it too. Watch it. It will capture you, and you will wait till the end to finish this shit. Another one is Grizzly Man. This one's goofy. This is a documentary about a man who has such love for bears, he wanted to document them live. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper into, anything in the middle. Spoiler alert, nigga. He ends up getting killed by a bear. So, watch this shit. And I guarantee you, there will be laughter, okay? And then another one is Blackfish. This is a documentary about people looking for a killer whale that killed. Like, I think he said that he had over a dozen bodies in this ocean. And they trying to find, how the fuck do you know if this certain fish has bodies in this ocean? Like, how the fuck do you know that? How do you not know that there's other ones in the ocean that's doing this shit? It could be a gang of them. Animals are not that separate where they're not individualized like humans. They all look alike. Like, even if it's like I'm pretty sure if it's killer whale, I'm pretty sure it's other ones that look exactly like him in the exact ocean. And I'm pretty sure they all had that taste for fucking blood. Okay, so for you to put a documentary together to find this killer whale, mind you, it's a killer whale, so his first name lets you know what he is about in this world. Not this day, what he does on a day-to-day basis. I am a killer whale. You don't need no fucking description. Just read my name, bitch. So it was just goofy as fuck to catch that one. You're going to have to watch that one to the end. I'm not going to spoil that one for you. And this last goofy ass one is called Tickled. There's actually a community. It's even bigger than a community of people, and they have tickle contests. It's a man laying on his back with another man straddling over his thighs and another man straddling over his midsection, and they are getting tickled. That's the premise of it, and I'm gonna tell you this right now. You have to watch this shit. Not for the entertainment value, just for the shock value. You're gonna be saying what the fuck throughout this whole fucking documentary. This is by far some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I know some people say, well, don't say weird, you don't understand. That's why it's weird, because I don't understand it and I don't know anything about that life. Okay? There's nothing wrong with using words, okay? I don't give a fuck. Don't say it's weird because you don't understand it. No, it's weird because this shit is weird. Because I don't dabble in this side of society, okay? You can call me weird. I do some weird shit, but I won't be that fucking offended. And they shouldn't either, because they know this shit is fucking different, alright? Please watch the documentary called Tickled. And the good thing about most of these documentaries, you can watch this shit on YouTube for free. So, it's not like I'm telling you some shit that you gotta go to your local library to find. You can watch this shit from the comforts of your own home or your own phone, since, it is 2018 and technology has grown. But please, if you don't watch any of these documentaries up here, watch Tickled, my nigga. Watch Tickled. This shit, I'm tickled right now from the shit that I saw. But please, watch this documentary. I guarantee you will see some shit that you have never seen in your fucking life. And when you comment on it in the comment section, even if you fucking don't, I guarantee you will be shocked. And there's a couple of other ones I had up here I'm not going to mention because I just didn't think they were worth mentioning. I think it's more sometimes when you want to give out favorites, you don't want to give out all of them because some people they aren't going to be interested. Now, if you aren't interested in some I mentioned, I don't give a fuck. But I'll tell you one thing, you're going to click on this goddamn Tickled. I know that's for fucking sure. You're going to do that shit. But just peep some of them, even if you don't watch it, Wikipedia, the synopsis or whatever, just so you could just have some knowledge on it, have some info on it. And I appreciate y'all for coming by again for this podcast. One day we'll probably get some views, but I'm waiting, to do more, to, gather enough funds where I can include other people in this. You might be fucking tired of my voice or me saying or the pause breaks and the stuttering and all that other dumbass shit I be doing. So I'm trying to find a way to incorporate other people in this, But the ultimate goal about this is when I reach the amount of views I have, I pretty much want to bring my dad in and have us do a father and son podcast. I don't know if that market has been touched. Don't really give a fuck, but that's what I want the ultimate goal to be. So I just wanted to start the ball rolling with myself, and I guarantee you my father is 20 times more interesting as I am, so you will be entertained, whether through the shock and awe of his stories or just how funny he is. But that's where I'm trying to go with it. Once again, appreciate everybody for coming through. Like, comment, subscribe. Dislike, comment, subscribe. And as that boy Maverick always say, subscribe to fucking like button. We out.